The undeniable truth of sandbag-based training, especially when getting into heavier weight, is that your legs, specifically the quads, the hamstrings, and the glutes, are used in every exercise. And if you're lacking in any of those areas, the sandbag will expose it pretty quick. So is it really necessary to designate a day specifically to isolate the legs when your training is sandbag-based? As a guy who came from the world of modern fitness and typical gym culture to the primal nature of sandbag-based training, leg day was something that was drilled into me from an early age. For obvious reasons. It was something that I've always put in my workout splits for a long time. But as I go deeper into my sandbag journey, I'm starting to break away from the ways that I've always been stuck in for so long and wondering if some things are really necessary. At this point, I've completely done away with the total isolation day for legs. I feel it is unnecessary simply because when I shoulder the sandbag from the ground, I'm training legs in every step of that process. When I bear hug carry the sandbag, walking and holding the sandbag in that position, my legs are being engaged. When I'm doing rows and get-ups, my legs are being worked both actively and passively. On top of that, when I do kettlebell swings, especially for high reps and intensity, my hamstrings are being worked as well. So I'm a very firm advocate for squats of any form and believe it should be part of any form of exercise regimen. Not just for the fact that they build muscle in the legs, but for the benefit of mobility. Squatting ass to the grass. I'm not about to go into all the mainstream benefits based on research and someone else's results. I'm going to give you 2 very good reasons why I think it's important based on my own experience. Hip mobility. It protects your lower back from injury because if your hips can't move freely, your back is going to take the brunt of the stress from the lift. Hip mobility takes a good amount of stress off your lower back from lifting sandbags and deadlifting barbells. I've always prioritized hip mobility in my training, and I can credit that to staying injury-free from the constant beatdown of hard training over time. I place a high value on being able to move well, especially as I get older. Nobody is going to be young forever. I like being able to squat down to the ground to play with my kids and hope to be doing that someday in my 70s with my grandkids. If you have any issues with hip mobility, sometimes it will require extra work to address and improve it. I have to do the same thing with the shoulders because I'm chronically tight and stiff up top. Most squats and leg isolation exercises with sandbags are typically front-loaded, which are always going to engage your back and your core. In order to isolate legs, I prefer a light sandbag back squat, simply for maintaining hip mobility and squat depth. I also prefer the bear hug box squat to specifically build power in the legs, the glutes, and the total posterior chain to improve the skill of shouldering. My advice is, try all the varieties of sandbag squats and find which ones that you prefer. You can't do everything in a single workout split, even though you could probably try. I found that there's much more benefit and gain out of narrowing down to preference and practicing it weekly. Even though leg day has always been a religious part of my training, I've dropped it out of my split. Every day is leg day with any exercise you're focused on when training with sandbags. Squats are crucial to building the legs as well as maintaining mobility, which is a very important part of being a functional and practical human. I believe that squats should be in any workout regimen, and the key is to find which version you prefer. So is leg day really necessary in a sandbag-based strength split? I think not. Well, that's all I got. If you have any questions, anything to add, leave it in the comments. Thanks for being here, and I will see y'all next time.